want to talk about how to fake your way as a mobile developer when you have no creds and no skills, but just a whole lot of passion and the opportunity to invoice. And you can get incredibly motivated when those things collide. So I'm going to be just start with a survey. How many of you are developing now for mobile? Wow, so quite a number of you. Of those that are developing now for mobile, how many are developing for iPhone? And how many for Android? And how many for Windows Phone? Yeah! Yeah, see, there's always one. There's always one, man. That's awesome. That's so great. Well, for the rest of you, this is a bit of a background to this talk. There's an old Jewish proverb that says that where there's no oxen, the stall is clean. Because oxen produce stuff, and I think the essence of this proverb is, if you don't have an oxen, you have a clean stall, but you don't have all the good stuff that an oxen produces. And that is really the heartbeat of this talk, because PhoneGap is a fantastic oxen, but it does produce all sorts of things in the stall that need to be cleaned out. So there's a lot of mucking around, but there's a fantastic, powerful result at the end. So why am I talking about faking it, and why am I talking about PhoneGap as an option for this? Well, mainly, who's got the time? When it comes to developing products, and this, what motivated me to pursue this was a particular piece of government mobile development work that needed to ship on Android, phone and tablet, iPhone, iPad, Windows Phone, yes sir, you can run it on your device, BlackBerry, and Playbook. So it was a massive amount of effort. If you actually had to develop native clients for all those, you're writing in Objective-C, you're writing in C#, you're writing in Java, you're writing in Flash, you're getting across like a bazillion technologies, a million APIs. And on top of all that, you had a client spec that was quite a detailed piece of design. So it's done by graphic designers, and graphic designers don't always have a great feel for mobile. They think you can just put pixels anywhere on that damn thing and you can line it up regardless of the resolution and it should look like this. And man, it was just an insane amount of effort. So we had a look at Titanium, we had a look at PhoneGap. We ended up going with PhoneGap because we had skills that we could be productive in straight away. So really the theme of this talk, like my talk the other day, is it's really all about winning, okay? The only thing that this talk is about is winning. So winning on Windows, winning on iPhone, winning on Android, winning on BlackBerry, winning everywhere, okay? So with some blues, but with very little smoke and mirrors. So for the next 20 minutes, I want to take you through our journey with PhoneGap, a little bit about it, what it does, how it works. I'm going to take it to a whole new level and deploy to a device. If you have your device, I'll happily deploy to that. No, I won't. Actually, I'd have to get... If it's an Android device, I could do that. And you have the drivers on a USB stick. But that's okay. How about I just deploy to my device for today, because that'll just keep it a bit different. See how it works in action, deploy it to a device, and swap some stories and have some fun. Well, what is PhoneGap? So PhoneGap is actually no longer PhoneGap. It's now migrating towards Apache callback. It's open source, moving to the Apache kind of setup, but it's basically a toolkit that allows you to build HTML5 web apps that consume phone services. Okay, so that's a bit of a mouthful, but not like Titanium, where we're not doing there's no compilation happening here. There's nothing that is being compiled. There is simply a piece of HTML, JavaScript, CSS, standard stuff, along with a JavaScript API that gives you a standard way of accessing platform services. So you want to access the accelerometer on the phone, or the camera, or the geo, or all that kind of stuff, just straight from JavaScript in one single abstraction that works across all platforms. So it's really the kind of attempt to have the dream of a single source that is distributed across all this stuff using tools you know. So cross-platform. So cross-platform, right? Like Java, right, is cross-platform and looks just cool on every platform and completely native, as this demonstration of its native prowess shows. Well, not exactly cross-platform like Java. Well, certainly not in the UI sense. They really aim to give you some tools and experience that kind of looks native and looks pretty native. This is a little demo app we're going to be doing today, which is just a little app that takes the scheduling data for the OSDC conference and produces a little kind of app that you can deploy to your phone and see what session's on right now and all that kind of stuff. Did you have an app idea for that? Are you demoing next? Are you working on it now? Oh, cool. Well, this took me 3 hours, and I think about 2.5 of that was JavaScript debugging. So, end of the day, you should be golden. So, what is it? So, it basically gives you a shell device project, okay, and it just launches an embedded browser, like a UI web control on Apple or whatever your particular web control thing is on that platform, and it exposes a JavaScript API to that. So that's really all it is. So we're just writing normal HTML, JavaScript, CSS. There's no magic here. There's no compilation. But the thing that you have to note is it's a shell device project, so you still need the tools that you need for whatever platform you're developing for. So it's not a compiler. Okay, it's not an IDE toolset. That was really cool, that titanium toolset stuff that was happening in that snap in. This is not that. It's not a language helper. It's not shielding from device tooling. So you still run Xcode and compile stuff. You still run Eclipse and compile stuff. You still run Visual Studio and compile stuff. In BlackBerry, you have an Ant script. So you run the command line and you compile stuff and ship it to the device. So it doesn't shield you from that, or it doesn't offer you really any kind of tooling. One thing that is attractive about it is that it does have pretty big backing. It's recently been acquired. Natobi, the original Canadian developers, have been acquired by Adobe, and this was part of this move to the Apache sort of foundation. It's licensed BSD MIT. So what can I do? What can I target? What can I build? Well, you can think of all sorts of applications that work really great for mobile that you could develop that just need a little bit of device stuff, like just maybe the chance to grab a camera or a chance to grab geo or something like that, or maybe interact with your address book or something, and then have some sort of web services interaction that you have a backend that's remoting to things, or use local storage, or all that brilliant stuff that you can already do in HTML5 and makes it super duper easy. Well, there's a lot of apps that are like that. So you can develop one of those and ship it to all your devices. Now, if you're the kind of purist deal and you say, well, I really want this I'm really a hardcore iPhone guy and I really want this perfect experience. Well, this isn't the tool for you. You need to just get Xcode and get busy, because this will never give you the absolute, fine level stuff. Like, for instance, so can I build one of these? Can I write this? Well, I mean, if you're committed enough, you probably can build one of these, but it would be an awesome amount of work to try and backfit all that into a canvas control on a HTML5 page. But man, if you're committed, you can do it. But obviously, it's not suited for that. So let me just talk about our scenario. We had a client that wanted a very simple promotional, basic community health type app that had a few screens to navigate. Okay, they really wanted it to run on mobile. They really wanted it in the App Store. That was their biggest thing. We really want to have it in all the application stores so they can promote this as a thing. We want to access a little bit of native services. So we basically want to navigate a few things and then launch a call to a help desk kind of thing. But that kind of stuff. It was a really simple app, but the requirements that were really king were it had to run on all these platforms. We've got to run on iPhone, Android, WinPhone, originally on Symbian, and also BlackBerry and Playbook. So this was the thing that was really driving us. And when we had to look at this, we were like, well, we need someone who can do this in a few weeks and in some standard way. And PhoneGap was absolutely perfect for it. So how do you build one of these things? And we're going to go through that for the next little part of the talk. Basically, you use PhoneGap for the app shell, so just the thing that loads in the IDE, gets you started all right, and launches your web control. Then you need to add some sort of UI framework, because all you've got is a HTML control. So if you just serve up your great little heading one or whatever and try and kind of style it, you really need some help. And there's heaps of those, and we're going to talk about one of those today. Then you can start calling in the device capabilities. So we're going to call out to the phone today. So not the phone, the camera today, so we can browse to a OSDC session, and then we can take a picture, and that's going to integrate with our app, and that's really our little demo. And hopefully we can deploy that to the App Store and retire. For $9.99, you can own this. So first thing you need to do is you probably need to choose some kind of UI framework. There's a stack of these to choose from. JQ Touch, Seneca, Rhodes, all sorts of stuff happen here. We ended up going with jQuery Mobile, and all it really gives you is, like jQuery UI, it gives you some kind of blurry image that is looking like a button or a list or some sort of low-level nav. The slider kind of controls the on-off switches, the calendars, all those kind of things in looking some kind of mobile-y type stuff. So that was a really useful toolkit that we grabbed early on. And to generate your actual app, it's pretty simple. So this is a sample of the HTML, normal straight divs like you used to before, and what it actually maps to in an interface. So in this case, we've got a header, this top section, this div, maps to whatever's in that red section at the top. so that scrolly type bar. It comes with a few different styles depending on how you want to style, different themes and stuff. We'll have a look at that in a sec. Then you've got a content bar. This is just a bunch of LIs, okay, that are styled as a list view. But again, straight HTML, no super duper magic or mirrors. And finally, some footer. In this case, we've got a navbar style footer, which looks like one of those mobile navy things that you click on. So that all that sort of stuff. The JavaScript exposes all the kind of events you're used to, like the swipe. You can catch a swipe, so we were using that to move between pages, and we'll demo all that in a second. So you do your markup and you add your style sheeting and all that kind of jazz, and then you probably add some media queries. So in their case, they wanted the tablet version of this thing to be different to the phone version of this thing because the tablet could look, really slick. So you end up getting into all these kind of media queries, and you won't believe how many media queries we needed to actually get this working on the proliferation of devices of irregular shapes that actually wanted to present. So this is all standard stuff. If you've done anything with CSS3 or media queries, then you know all about how you can do this sort of device whipping type sensing and apply different CSS. You can actually do it inline in your CSS as well, and sometimes you have to hack that in as well because each device is just slightly different. And so once you've done all that, you've done all the layout stuff, now you want to get to the devicey mobile stuff, and well, that's just straight JavaScript. So this is the actual code that we're going to be using today to grab a picture of you guys when we serve to your session and call back. So the navigator object is the core PhoneGap object and exposes all the different PhoneGap services. So we basically just called navigator.camera.getPicture. And that just takes a callback. You get back a base64 encoded version of the image. You can say what camera quality you want to use, and obviously then when you can hook this to an event like a button or whatever, you can call fetch image, and off you go. In fact, this is exactly the code that we're going to be using today. Alright, so next, so the other thing that's very cool about PhoneGap is if you really want something that's native to a particular platform, it also offers a plugin architecture. So for instance, one of the things we had to do on iPhone is that when we ran the app and they clicked on a link in the app, it launched it inside the embedded browser, which is not what we wanted. We wanted to actually launch the real browser with the Chrome and all the Apple stuff looking there and all that sort of jazz. So PhoneGap, heaps of people have written these sort of PhoneGap plugins that you can add for a particular platform, which in that case is just a little bit of Objective-C plus a JavaScript wrapper. So you always get those two things coming together, which means you can just call it from JavaScript and off you go, and there's just tons of these things to consume, all right? If you want to customize it up to your heart's content, all that stuff is there for you. All right, so plugins are all available. So also, if all of this running locally just seems too hard, like you just think, oh man, I'm going to spend all my time yak shaving and setting up IDEs and setting up all this kind of jazz. PhoneGap also offers a cloud service. So you can upload your stuff to GitHub or some Subversion repository, and then you can tell PhoneGap, hey, pull down my stuff and build it for all the platforms that you know about. And this is pretty darn cool, because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, this is so good because I can build for iPhone and I don't need to have an Apple box, right? That's what you're thinking. Well, unlucky, because you have to have an Apple box to generate the keys that allow you to provision to the device that you own, that you bought, that you paid money for. You have to ask, dear Apple, can I deploy something to this device that I own? So you still need to have an Apple box to do that, but all the other platforms you don't. You can run from whatever you like, and it will build in the cloud. And it's only to set up the keys. Once you've set up the keys, actually, then you have to download the APK that you drag to the device. But that aside, the dream is that you would have one cloud service to rule them all. Okay, so what was our experience? When we did this, we built for all of those platforms, and PhoneGap was pretty much a perfect fit. We were nearly single source. So we're going to try and have one absolute single source, except everything got in the way. So BlackBerry have a different format for their URLs when they're running on mobile devices, so we had to hack the JavaScript to work for that. So WinPhone doesn't like things running as a single page, so each of the 6 pages of 7 pages of our app needed to be split out into separate things. Android flickered in the default configuration, so it needed a special CSS rule to stop the flickering. For Apple, we needed plugins to launch in a separate browser. So all of that was just, as I said, it's great having an ox. An ox is a powerful beast. You can do a lot with an ox, but an ox does generate some mess in the stall. So that was just part of our experience, but it did let us build for all those platforms on a very short time in a tiny budget, just enough to make some money, and that was a good result for us. What really surprised me in this whole process was the emulators were really close. I thought the emulators would be like a million miles from the real devices. So we went out and basically just JB'd our way to success and bought Playbooks and Blackberries and Win phones and Apple devices and Android tablets and basically just had a big stack of things. And in the end, I don't think I found any issue that tripped only on the device. Every issue that tripped on the device also tripped on the emulators. So I was really jazzed that that was very close. And as I said, all platforms have their issues. And then we got to the app stores, and the app stores were the next journey in this process. So after all of that desire from the client to be in app stores, we are now in the Android App Store, the BlackBerry App Store, and the Windows Phone App Store. And one day, if everything goes just great, we'll be in a space to say we're in the other App Store. But that journey has been an iterative journey. It seems that getting community safety information into the Apple Store is more difficult than I had first thought, but I know they'll do the right thing. Some useful resources we found along the way. The jQuery mobile book is fantastic for developing like skinning and how to do that stuff. They've got a great Twitter client example. It reminds me of Graham's example this morning they worked through. And this PackPress book, these are terribly edited books, but this particular one is actually quite good. And it's definitely worth checking out. And you can buy them in PDF for around $10. So they're definitely worth resourcing. That said, the community documentation for both these projects is very good. So these are good background information, but you don't need it. All right, let's do a demo. We've still got 10 minutes. Fantastic. Okay, so let's go to demo. If you want to grab this demo later on, have a play around, all the sources on GitHub, so you can pull it down and hack to your heart's content. So this is our little app that I want to demo today. I asked Evan, do you have any scheduling information last week when we were just getting ready for this, I was thinking of this demo. And he said, look, I've got a spreadsheet I can send you. So he sent me a spreadsheet, an open office spreadsheet. Oh, he's just a champion guy. And he sent me an open office spreadsheet of all the scheduling data. And I thought, I've got to get this into some format that my little HTML5 PhoneGap app is going to read. And so, funnily enough, opening it in my Gmail, it said, do you want me to open this in Google Spreadsheets? And I thought, now you're thinking, if only there was a way to consume Google Spreadsheets. And of course, they expose over JSON. So I grabbed a little JavaScript library. So now this is now my CMS for today's application. It stores all the content that we'll be demonstrating. Is now kept in this public Google Spreadsheet. You'll see a link for it in the source code. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read all that just using standard JavaScript and a little Google Spreadsheets library that lets you get this back as JSON. Then I'm going to add some jQuery mobile framework action to just make it look like a mobile app. And then I'm going to add PhoneGap so I can deploy it to this poorly cropped and blurry device here, which is in fact my phone. In fact, here's my phone right here. Why don't I just going to plug that in anticipation. So let's just crack open the demo. Can I make this the same so that you see what I see? Do you see what I see? You don't see anything. It looks great here. Oh yeah, okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to open up right now this is my little demonstration app, okay? So in this case, I'm just using the Android one. So hey, I better start this in the emulator because based on Graham's demo, that seemed to just take quite some time. So I don't have any emulators sparked up. How about we start with a phone and we might do a tablet later on. And I'll spark that up in the background while I talk to you guys about what we have here. Okay, so if you're going to create a page in this, you'll remember that what I said was really it just is standard. It's standard HTML. So this is a basic page and what it looks like. I've got just a heading to say this is a page. The fact that I want a back button. In fact, I don't need a back button for this one because this would be the home page, right? So some ID here. And then the page header, which we said appears at the top. In fact, I'm going to run this. What can I put in this? Sampler. And this is going to be some body text. and this is going to be my footer. That's absolutely fine. Now, while that's all happening, my emulator's been busy sparking up in the background. Solid state drives for the win. Okay, so that is sparked up, but my little app hasn't sparked up yet, has it? Maybe Steve says no to Android, maybe that's why it's slow. Oh no, that's sparking up. So this is my little app that I've run right now, and that's sparking up in the emulator, and that looks like it's not going to happen, does it? It's not real happy. Oh, there's red stuff. Oh yeah, look at that. Fantastic. So this is a little app. It's going to take a little while, because I think what it's going to do now is it's going to go off and try and get a network connection, which is not going to happen, right? So we better just make a network connection happen. So let me just go into here. Oh yeah, proceed anyway, sure. I think that's probably this, right? Does anyone number this number is?
178-401.
Ah, champion, that's fantastic.
This is a secure one, you don't have to do that.
Look at that. And we're in. Fantastic. Actually, while I'm here, this is PhoneGap build. So PhoneGap build, this is where I've just pointed this at that GitHub repository that we're using. And actually, while I'm doing this, why don't I just rebuild for all of these platforms? Because we can do that. We have an army of super intelligent robots taking on. Oh, it looks like BlackBerry's not happy about the underscore. Anyway, that's pretty good for the 3 users using BlackBerry. That's handy to know. But let me just take you through this, okay? So you can see this app. 5 minutes. Oh, that's really great. Excellent. Right in the demo. That's okay, we're there, we can do this. Let's rerun that, because now I've got this running. So this will be heaps quicker the second time, right? And hopefully this time, this guy will have a network connection and will be able to go off and fetch my Google spreadsheets and pull that data down and render it into this nice little app that we have running here, and we'll be able to see the next session coming up after this session, so you can plot your course to decide. Except it's 1:24 a.m. on this device. I think that could skew my calculations a little. Yeah, so coming up we have registration in room 1. Well, let me just show you a little bit about what we've actually implemented in this app. So it's gone off, fetched that data from a Google spreadsheet. All of this stuff, though, is really, we'll have a look at all this in a second. Okay, so that's just registering the actual conference program that we can kind of scroll up here. If I could drive this with a mouse, it would be really handy. And then we have a sort of a footer deal where we have speakers that we can navigate to in this extremely fast emulator. Did that work? No? Oh, yeah, there they are. Fantastic. We have speakers you can navigate to that look like a native kind of list and show the sessions. And we can click on one of those sessions and it brings up the actual session. And then if we scroll down here for the absolute champion effort, we're going to take a pic, right? Because that's what we want to do. We're going to be in this session, we're going to take a pic. But of course, we're running on an emulator, so this is just not going to be this is going to be less impressive, right? All right, so, oh wow, crash bang. Camera failed. Oh, look at it, excellent error handling. That's fantastic. Hey, how about I run this on my phone? Hey, we've got 2 minutes. Can I run this on this? Oh, can we turn this thing on?
Yeah.
Oh, how great a demo would this be if this just worked on my phone? I really just set myself up for success here. Just telling you how great this is.
You happy to lose the screen?
Yeah, lose the screen. Oh, this is just, come on. This is just going to be awesome. Can I move this? Oh, yeah. Come on. Come on. Can you see that?
Hang on, give it a sec. Elmo.
Oh. Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to deploy to the device.
Yeah, here we go.
Yep, all good. Okay, so what I'm going to do...
It's okay.
Oh, look at that. That looks fantastic. So I'm just deploying now to that device, and then I can actually take a picture. Whoa! Oh, now it's cooking. Oh, a really great thing deploying to Microsoft devices. If the screen is locked, you can't deploy. It says, please unlock the screen. I'm like, you're connected to the device, you know? Like, has someone sneaked a USB cable into my pocket? And jeez. Okay, so... but I don't have any Wi-Fi on the device, so it's just no. But come on, we've got 3 minutes. I totally can do this. Tell me the number again, and tell me the number again. There it is. No, just to, in fact, I think I had this on the clipboard. Paste. Good. Cool. Do that on your right. All right. So that's that logging in. Okay, good. Come on, we've got to run it again. Let's update the header. Let's just update the header so it's OSDC.1. Just so I know that it's actually going to the device. Choose the device. Deploying, and winning. Yeah, come on, lunch. All right, don't clap, just throw money. Okay, so let's try this, hey? Oh, this is just going to be so. Did I tell you I implemented swipe events? Yeah, that was a really great idea. Let's just have a look here. Where's my app gone? Okay, so that's basically the as I said, there's a few teething issues with different devices, but the basic dream is we have just standard HTML here. I'm calling out to standard JavaScript here. There's some special things like device ready and stuff you can catch, but most of it's totally just standard JavaScript that you've all seen and love. And we can go straight from that, wrap it in a little bit of PhoneGap and deploy it to a real device. And then ship it up to app stores and make our fortunes and retire. So thanks so much for coming and hanging out. Have a great lunch. I don't want to be the last guy standing between you and lunch, so come and ask questions and hang out afterwards if you've got the time. Thanks again. So much, terrific, great, thank you. Oh wow, this is just organic coffee. This is good. I've had this before.
I can't believe that works.
Really great. It's unbelievable. It's just agile present.